So looking back at Watch Dogs, we see a game that was going to be big. The hype was massive. And why was it? Because of how good the first E3 trailers were, making the game look amazing. It looked like it was going to be a groundbreaking game, doing what the first Grand Theft Auto did, remaking an entire genre, but what did we really get? We got a game that was entirely downgraded from what we saw in the first trailers. Even the PC version at ultra settings, it didn't even come close. And furthermore, modders would go through the game files to discover these E3 textures that were just there, but they were disabled. Not usable by the players of the game. But why? What did this do to Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2? First off, this would be something that would hurt the brand name and Ubisoft itself. You see, you can't just show off this amazing game at all of these game events, just to not deliver on what you show. You see, you'll get backlash, or at least some. Watch Dogs was meant to be this game that breaks new waves in gaming, to give something new to the open world games, and much, much more. Watch Dogs was meant to be a groundbreaking new game in what it did. It had the potential to be this amazing game. In fact, it was showed to be this amazing game in all of its trailers, yet what we got was such a disappointment to what was shown. It was one of the biggest letdowns to be seen in gaming at that point, and Ubisoft would take a hit from this, leaving massive distrust from Ubisoft as the publisher, and then distrust from the Watch Dogs IP itself. This game had a lot of potential, and we all had eyes on it at launch. They needed to make a good impression, and that's what they did, losing what was said to be such amazing graphics and downgrading them into the ground. You see, Watch Dogs suffered the same fate that No Man's Skies would end up following in 2016, overhyping. No matter how you look at it, the massive overhyping absolutely destroyed the game itself, and this is completely Ubisoft's fault. Not only did they make the trailers look way better than the game ever could be, they left these amazing textures within the files of the game, yet they weren't accessible. This game got a massive reveal for its first time when it was revealed at E3 in 2012, and it looked like it was going to be an absolutely amazing game. But, as I said before, it just wasn't what we got. It was promised that this would be such a groundbreaking game that would reshape the whole open world genre, adding in such amazing things like hacking, but it did.
Hey, do you know that your name is tied to...
Whilst there are many fans of the story in the first game, including myself, this story was overdone. Our main character was easy yet hard to follow. The story went way too dark, too quickly, and you don't even get a chance to enjoy the game before it throws you into the deep end of the story and into the very difficult missions for newcomers. The story does have its strong points, including the amazing end to story. This story does have its strong points though, including the amazing end of the story. Not even me, who has played the game through the story multiple times over, has to agree with the fact that it just throws you into the deep end. At first, there wasn't much of a problem with the story from many points of view, yet after they released the second game in the franchise, it felt like it ignored what the first game gave us. In fact, looking at both of the stories in comparisons, the second game's story should have been what the first one had, not within the second game, and because of that, it made it feel like the Watch Dogs 2 storyline completely backtracked on what we got in the first game. What would have been better is if we got the first game's story in the second game, but better. One thing this game never fails to do is to give you the hardest time possible. Sometimes this isn't a good thing. This ain't Dark Souls, and it shows. But within a few missions, you get thrown into the deep end, and if you don't know how to sneak in stealth, or you've never played stealth games before, you will really have no clue in what you're doing, and you're in for a hard time. And for those inexperienced players, you'll have multiple fails within these types of missions. Each act would have some really hard missions, and some really easy missions, and even some missions that were absolutely amazing, either how they were, or the story built within those missions. You see, this game does give you a lot of fun at points, and at the same time, it also gives you the worst time of your life. The second last mission in Act 3 is something to talk about, as it is easily one of my favorite missions within the game, and a lot of people agree on this. One of the main reasons why it is loved so much is because of the fact that the mission uses all the best hacking gameplay elements that the game has to offer, using homemade robots that one of the characters within the story made to just kill off your enemies. Robots that absolutely taser the hell out of the enemies, shoot up the enemies, or completely cut the power to the place, leaving the enemies in the dark. But at the same time, this is also a very hard mission to complete, because you have to kill a lot of people, and you can't just run from this one. You have to sit there and defend while T-Bone, the character, plants bombs in his place. But the very next mission would be one of the more difficult missions. It throws you quite in after you had this very awesome experience with such of the best hacking bits that these games have to offer. It throws you in with going into a complex filled with people. Now, if you remember the layout from what they showed you when you sit through the cameras of this place, it's not that hard. In fact, the most difficult part of this mission comes when you have to kill one of the main antagonists, who will come at you with two people in heavy armored suits, including himself. If you haven't worked your way up to one of the skill points where you can just take out these guys in melee attacks, it's really difficult to try and kill them both.
Iraq was protecting a tinderbox of blackmail.
In all retrospect, Watch Dogs failed. No matter how well it sold, no matter how many people played it and loved it, it failed in what it was out to achieve. And this was shown in the second game with the after effects of what Watch Dogs did. The butterfly effect, to say. With Watch Dogs 2 was affected by the wait and see effect, where not many people would buy it when it first came out. And in the long run, not many people did end up buying it. And it really did hurt the franchise. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it, and if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell. But if you guys have any topics you want me to look into, then please say so down in the comments below. Anyway guys, Crazy Bear, out.
You're making a lot of noise, but are you making any progress?
I know what I'm doing. I don't need you on my shoulder.
But I think you do. We've always been stronger as a team. You